Evening, folks. Welcome to the Leeds View podcast. We do these twice a week on a Tuesday and a Thursday, but this week it's been a Monday and a Wednesday because of the way the games fell. We also do daily Leeds United news on a Monday to Friday. You can check us out across all the audio platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And if you want to support the channel, the best way to do so is subscribe to the channel, give us a follow and a channel rating, and click any of the affiliate links down below if you're interested in getting some Leeds United discounted merch, some Paddy's Day collection, or some discounted shirts from OK Jersey. Right. That's that out of the way. We're going tonight because we all just need to get this out of our system a little bit so we can actually crack on with our life. I thought by the time this evening came around, we'd all be a bit calmer and be able to articulate our feelings in a better way about the game last night. And then just from the little chat we've had before we've gone live, nope, we're not. So we're going to just get it off our chests. Now, joined by Paul and Jerry to digest what happened last night at Elland Road. The first time the three of us have been in the ground together in a few weeks and a while. We're not doing it again because look what happened. So that's our fault, apparently. And then the Ducks, all the good luck charms are gone. I hadn't seen Leeds lose in 3 years. That's gone. We lost 2 in a row under the lights. Is it 2 in a row under the lights now? Yep. Man City and now there. And and we lost our Elland Road as well. So all that's gone. So we're starting new records of not winning under the lights and not winning at home anymore. So that's the next one we're starting. So you'll get into it and we'll see how the lads are. Paul, how are you doing, mate? How are you?
I am very feel, as Alexander Usyk would say. I've had a new tattoo done today.
Oh, so, it was a bad day to get tattoos, and you could have got anything done.
I mean, in fairness, getting the tattoo done was quite cathartic for me because the pain from that, which incidentally travelled from my hand up to my nipple and round to my neck, which was really weird, has kind of helped settle the mood somewhat. But every time I go back to anything to do with the game, I find myself getting wound up. And it's not specifically at Sunderland because they gamed their way to that win. And, you know, unless the ref's going to do anything about it, you've got to doff your cap to them. Well done. They came with a game plan and it worked. But my thing is, and we've talked about it a little briefly online, is the lineup was wrong, the performance was wrong, the referee was wrong on a lot of occasions, and just things. I'm going to say the Pascal Struijk thing. It was checked by VAR and it was said to be no clear and obvious error. That, for me, tells you everything you need to know about VAR, and that's why I'm still fuming at that. Listen. A draw would have been a fair result, I think. I don't think anybody. I mean, we did dominate the game, but that's what Sunderland wanted us to do in terms of the way that we played it and everything. But yeah, I actually left before the end of the game because you could just see how it was going out. When I say left at the end, before people want to poke at me, I'm talking like 2 minutes before the final whistle was blown. I just shook Jerry's hand and went, "Mate, I'm going to have to start walking," and then had to walk past the Sunderland fans that were going, time to go, whatever. They were quite loud, give them the credit. They were noisy on the night as well. The atmosphere was flat. It was just a weird all-round game. But me personally, yeah, I'm starting to get okay with it, and I know we need to move on and just chalk it up to one of those things, but I'm still bubbling about it, to be fair.
Yeah, well, as your channel is called the Leeds Therapy, this is our therapy session to get this off our chests and then try and, as you say, just dust it off and move on with it. But Jerry, Paul's got sensitive nipples. How are your nipples tonight? Are you okay?
My nipples are fine and all pointing in the right direction, which is always a bonus on a Wednesday. I mean, yeah, I Luke 09. I used the bad C word, father.
It did.
The bad C word about him. And
instead of bold word.
I don't want to affect your algorithm, so I won't say it. But he was. That tackle on Struijk would have been a yellow card in rugby. Never mind. Yeah, that would have been a card.
There were yellow cards given outfield for less than that during that actual match.
Yeah. Why is it that when there's 30,000 people coming out of Elland Road, they close the motorway and have contra flows? I think Luke 09 was probably on traffic control, or the referee, because incompetent. Me and Paul made the mistake in the first minute of saying, he's doing all right. That was a good move. He let play move on and then brought it back for the foul. I thought, good. But yeah, as you say, Sunderland played the game. And why did they play the game? They should have. Luke 09 kicks the ball into the field from the side, and blatantly. Their goal scorer had been booked earlier, jumps in the crowd, nothing. Referee lost total control. many stoppages. You've got the figures, but
We'll get to that.
it was anti-football is the word that I've used all day, or the hyphenated if it is anti-football. Anybody I spoke to said that was dreadful. Worst game I've seen at Ellen Road. Worst team this season. They got their wins. You can see how they're doing this. I mean, it was just dreadful, and we were poor. And Daniel Farke, we give him stick, we give him credit. Last night wasn't one of his best. I thought after about 25 minutes, need to change this.
Yep.
We're not going to break. It was crying out for the attacking players, not on the 70th minute, crying out maybe for a Tanaka, change it, and just do some. The only highlight of the night was I met Mrs. Stack. She was lovely.
Oh yeah,
she was gorgeous, really nice person. And I had a quick chat with her, and I got a picture with Nigel Martin. The pies weren't great. I think it was chicken. It wasn't texture, and consistency wasn't great. So I had a bad feeling going into the ground last night. Wasn't a good feeling. And I got home and I was just the alarm was going off in the house. It was just a bad night. Fulham, you need to rescue us from this. Fulham win tonight. We reset and we're still 6 points. But if West Ham must be looking at this thinking, we got a chance. We're not out of trouble yet. This could have been a turning point, but we got to be better. The tactics got to be better. We can't just depend on trying to play our way through. It was just crowded. They didn't really, other than the chance, the penalty, they didn't really have anything to do. We nearly saved the penalty. Was it a handball? I don't know anymore. VAR doesn't check stuff. The game is fecked, it really is at the moment, and I think all fans are saying that. Yeah. I think Ruud Gullit, he said it's garbage. Yeah, I think even Arne Slot said it. It's bad to watch, and they've got to do stuff about it. It's easy if a player's walking off dead slow, book him. The other player doesn't come on for a minute. The keeper, if he goes down injured, somebody has to go off for a minute. No team talks. I mean, it was so fucking blatant. It was really annoying. I wanted to go and really injure him and stamp on his quad or whatever. And just annoying. Yeah. Really, annoying is the word. Disappointed. It wasn't great. Me and Paul had a hug briefly.
Yeah, we did.
Goal. Yeah. I think it was offside. I've had a look at it. It looked like he was
his kneecap.
Yeah, was it kneecap? Yeah,
it was slightly more, but still. And this, we'll talk about it as well, because the Arsene Wenger offside is being trialled in the Canadian Premier League, and that's the one where there must be clear daylight between the attacker and the defender for an offside. Their exact wording are, no longer will an offside be decided by a body part. No, it will be, because there has to be clear daylight between the two. So if the ankle isn't have clear daylight between it, then the ankle is going to be the reason why you're offside. So it just takes the issue from being the front of the player to being the back of the player now. So it just pushes the back.
And I also want linesmen to be tubby little men, not blokes that look like they're monsters. It's not about you, lads.
Yeah, just do your job. Yeah. The one where the linesman gave the throw in to Sunderland when it was clearly a throw into Leeds.
Yeah.
So the ref
he's got muscles.
But the ref overturned it as well. I'll tell you what the best stat from last night was, more than anything. Their XG was 0.85, I think, throughout the entire game. 0.75 of that XG is the penalty.
What's the penalty?
Yeah. I hope to get relegated next year. They are rubbish, and they'll be found out. They really will. I was coming out of the ground last night thinking Wolves are going to catch us.
For legal reasons, that is the view and opinion of Jerry McNamee.
Wolves are going to catch us.
Leeds View.
I'm scared. No. Oh God, it all looked so nice last week. It really did, and I'm just Anyway, come on, Fulham. We usually have we're all Fulhamers.
A day or two. This is why we normally have a day or two between the podcast and the matches, because the emotions are still high. They are. I mean, you're right. I mean, you're listing off all the stuff, and the more you list it off, the more annoyed I'm getting. Just hearing it all again and going through it in my head. You're 100% correct. But as Paul has said, you can't blame Sunderland. They came with a strategy. It was rotten to watch, but they got 3 points and they're going home. Happy or up home. Happy is Larry. So, from a Leeds perspective, though, there was a lot to to get stuck into here. I do want to talk about the one thing before we get to that. We'll talk about the Pascal Struijk one in more detail, but the clear and obvious, if Pascal Struijk's foul wasn't clear and obvious, then 6 minutes for a decision on a handball isn't clear and obvious either. So if it's going to take you 6 minutes to make a decision whether Ethan Ampadu to handle the ball or not, then that ain't clear and obvious. Then we just move on. But no. So we'll get to it though in more detail. Let's start off top of the lineup. Jerry, me and Paul were chatting before the game over in the Peacock, and we kind of saw the lineup, and we said the same thing, Paul. Same lineup as last week, the last game, and the game before, possibly even the game before. We're getting back to picking the same team every single week again. Yeah. Given the turnaround in time between Manchester City and this game, given the output that the players had to put in against Manchester City, and the fact that this having come through the Chelsea, Villa, and Man City games, you're now coming out to the other side of that, looking at Sunderland, Palace, and Brentford. You're going, these are the games where we can get the points. Yeah. Did it not make more sense to A, freshen it up, and B, put in more attack-minded players? Did we need to have 3 central defensive midfielders? And I will also caveat that by saying we have seen those 3 defensive midfielders play attacking football, but we didn't see it last night.
No, fully expected the same team. I said beforehand, if Justin is fit, that's probably the only contentious thing, because he'd had stitches. And yeah, you're right. We've got a decent squad. I mean, our bench is decent, and it was a chance. I mean, Tanaka seems to be persona non grata at the moment. I think he hadn't a great game. Was it the Arsenal game? He hadn't a great game. I can't remember which one. And he seems to have been turfed out, and he needs to be back in. And you've seen when Dan James and Willie came on, it added a bit of an extra dimension. And yet we seem to have reverted back to October, as you say. They were picking the same team, same tactics, and not changing for the situation. And last night it was the old adage: if at first it doesn't succeed, do it again. It doesn't work. It doesn't work, and we should have changed that. And there was scope to do that. And you could see very early on that Sunderland, they're just crowding us out, and we just couldn't break them down. So you change it. I mean, look at Sean Longstaff last night. He was desperate to get on the pitch. I think he came back to the dugout and he wasn't going on. I think he threw his eyes up. I mean, a Geordie coming on against Sunderland, I think it would have added something. Yeah, something. I thought he might have come in last night, but you know, it just we just waited too long. Half time should have been changes, nothing, and Calvert-Lewin again isolated up front. He flicked on some great balls last night. He can direct it with it. He just doesn't head it. He flicks it. He directs it. Yeah. But if there's nobody there with him, he's having to work it himself. And unfortunately, Nemecha came on and I missed him really. I didn't really. I forgot he was on the pitch. Wasn't his night. But you know, maybe try something different. But Daniel, you got lots of credit, and we loved you for the way you reacted on Saturday and the way we've turned it around. But don't revert back, because that's not good. That's not good for you, because if we revert back to this, it can all change very quickly, and we're still far from safe. I think we had a good feeling the way we were going and taking off the points, but there's 2 defeats and 1 bad one that we expected to get 3 points from. We were looking at this game thinking, yeah, that's 3 points we're going to get. So it all changes, and as I say, those Fulham lads. I'm a Fulhamer tonight, definitely. Yeah. I'm going to watch Celtic. I can't stand the stress. I'll watch a nice, relaxed game with Celtic and like they can be. Yeah, it's just I might just watch a rom-com, I think, and just look at the score.
Why not?
I don't know. Yeah, Pretty Woman or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
As well.
Or 4 weddings and a funeral.
But you won't enjoy it, Jerry, because the voice in the back of your head will be gone.
Oh, Hugh Grant's very good. He's very good.
Luke O'Nien. You'll be hearing Luke O'Nien's name in the back of your head the whole time you're watching it. It'll just be niggling at you the whole time.
Oh, jeez.
Him and Declan.
I just keep thinking of Father Tedisms when I think of him. Yeah. Little gobshite. But anyway.
Paul, there's a few bits to pick up there. Outside of the same lineup, it's 1 goal in 3 games for Leeds, and again, we didn't take a huge amount of issue with that. Again, we scored against Villa, but it was a set piece, no goal from open play. You want to see something last night, and I think we've seen the formation change. And look, I will say this because I don't want to get into Farke territory here, but what I will say is that when Daniel Farke has had to react this year, he has reacted, and the hope will be that this is a shot across the bow of you're not safe. You can't revert to type. We can't go back to slow build up, tippy tappy, possession based football because it has yet to work for us in the Premier League. We went through our worst run doing it. We have a slightly different system, but we were doing it again last night. And the fact that we're not scoring goals and the fact that we're back talking about Calvert-Lewin is isolated. We're not getting crosses into the penalty area. There's no movement off the ball, and it's too slow. They are ones that go back to earlier on in the season. So you hope that this is the one that just goes, right, shot in the arm, sort this out. We've got the FA Cup on Saturday, the weekend. It's Saturday, I think it's Saturday, against Norwich. And then have a go at it against Palace. Let's not go to Palace in a Premier League season at this part of the year and see it fall apart. Let's get going again, because he can do it as a manager, and the players we know can do it when they assert themselves in a certain way.
It doesn't take long for the tables to turn with the manager in terms of people's opinions, the way people view who he is. I sent you the link to the Mirror article today, and it's an easy article to publish. It's an easy article. Just it's literally because of this is where we're at. Let's put that one out there because it's going to get clicks on it. And it looks like the majority of, I don't know, we're not going to get into it massively, but straight away the majority of the Fark out people, all of their phones suddenly got fixed again last night because we lost another game. This, as you say, I hope that it's another shot over the bow, that it's a chance for him to learn and adapt and change and do something slightly different or something a little bit better. There should have been changes made last night. They should have been braver. He should have been braver in his selection and what he was doing. For me, you can kind of clearly see that there's, and I said it to you last night, there's a big Okafor-shaped hole in the squad over the last couple of games, because he is the one player that we've got that generally will start and generally will make runs, penetrate, run forward, carry the ball, take the player on. Him and Goodmanson work very, very well on the right-hand side. Yeah. I don't like, for me, our best centre-back three pairing should always be Biol, Rodon, Struijk. That's what it should be. Justin has been phenomenally good in the games that he's come in and played for, but Bogle in this weird advanced role thing doesn't work for me. It completely nullifies everything that he's trying to do. So for me, revert back to have it. I mean, last night was screaming out for a 3-4-3 formation. That's what it was screaming out for, because they were so negative and didn't want to do any other than press us high. They weren't looking to try and do anything other than that. So that a 3-4-3 formation would have worked fantastically last night. So having a Nonto on, having a James on, who can then get the crosses in, that side of things. My worry is like you said, that maybe that complacency had crept in a little bit, and Farke maybe thought, okay, we're okay, so I can revert back to the football that I want to play a little bit. I don't know if that's the case. I'm purely speculating on that. But we need to understand that we're not safe, and we're not going to be safe until the season's finished, until it's guaranteed, until we're told that the season is done. Last night was a shambolic performance. The players were too tired. The changes needed to come at halftime. He's got to be braver. He needs to stop being so reactionary, and he needs to be more proactive in terms of his substitutions and making something happen. I thought he was going to make substitutions at halftime. I genuinely did. I said to Jerry at halftime, Dan James and Tanaka have come out late. Yeah. That must mean that they're going to be coming on potentially. That sounds quite good. And Mecha comes on in the 60th minute. Perot came on in the 80th minute and did more than Mecha for the half an hour. Now, the irony in what I'm saying there is Perot was bad when he came on, but he still did more. He still did more than Mecha when he came on. So I'm just baffled at the decision-making processes that Farke went through in that. And like we said, we praise and we criticise it in equal measure. This one, Farke has to shoulder the response, as do the players, but Farke definitely, with his selection, has to shoulder the responsibility for this result.
Yeah, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I said it last night on the review. If there's criticism to be aimed at people, we'll criticize them. If there's praise to be aimed at people, we will praise them. There's no agendas. I'll be very happy with Daniel Farke over the last couple of months. It's been very good. And as I've always said, I don't always enjoy his football, but I actually was quite enjoying the more direct, aggressive kind of football that we were playing. I was actually really starting to enjoy that a little bit. So it could just be a blip. It could just be one result. So let's not overreact and try to tie that pram and get into that area. But it is, that Mirror article is pure clickbait because Team Talk have jumped on it as well now. And the thing about it is Pete Lowy and Prag Marat, they have both said over the last 6 weeks that Daniel Farke and contract talks are not happening till the season's finished because the job isn't done.
Yep.
And that's basic. He still has another year in his contract. So there's no rush to sign him to a new deal. He has to keep Leeds in the Premier League. That's the job. So why would they be discussing with it? And now because we lose a game last night, they're out with the Daniel Farke's job's uncertain because contract talks are on hold. They're not on hold. They never started.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
he's going to complete the job.
Yeah. That he has to finish his job. His review isn't until the end of the season. He's not going anywhere between now and then. So we'll have to see. But Jerry, outside of the team sheet and the performance, the substitutions, we saw a bit of a reverting to type there as well. We got to the 75th minute and let's throw all the boys on up front. And we saw a very bizarre thing start to happen. And again, this goes back to criticism from the championship times where it was a case of there is a point where you have too many players in one area and nobody to actually get the ball and put it into them. Because at one point I saw Joe Rodon overlapping on the right-hand side to the end line to try and cross the ball in because there was nobody else over there to do it. And it all went a bit weird. And then you had Joe Peru trying to volley balls in from the edge of the box and putting them nearly out for throw-ins. It was stinking by the end of it just because everyone just seemed to just be ran forward. And then BL would get the ball in the middle of the park and look up. And all you see is that. Yeah. Just a wall of players all standing on the 18-yard. What do you even do there? Like, you can't play, you can't find gaps. You're just going to hump it into the box and hope for the best. So even at that point, it didn't necessarily need all the attackers on the pitch. It needed a reshape. It needed a different focus. It needed to change the point of attack and try and do something at least a little bit different rather than just go, well, there's all our strikers on. Now we'll see how we get on.
Yeah. Well, even Pascal, I thought he was in the box at one stage as the ball was going forward, and you think, I suppose at Goodmanson. I mean, early on he was running at them, and you thought, we'd get through these, and I'm surprised possibly he took him out. But again, it was getting all cluttered. I thought, where's Bogle playing? Where? And I think you're right when you say about Bogle that advanced position doesn't work. So Justin, you have to fit one or t'other in, and we can easily rotate and sub players, and that don't necessarily have to be on from the start, whatever. And Justin's been brilliant. So, but you got to play the right players in the right positions, and as you see from that, all those back passes, I'd say Carl Darlow probably most possession of anybody last night. The ball kept going back, and you could feel frustration, and that from early in the season, and even last year as well. It felt like the championship. We couldn't break teams down, and it worries me because I remember 2 years ago Sunderland game sort of started the role where we didn't finish in the top two in the championship. Maybe I'm getting too carried away, but my lucky shirt, which I was wearing to the Man City game, which I changed last night after finding another lucky shirt, which take tactics out of. That's the most important thing that'll probably help Leeds win. Me choose the right shirt. But the chaos was there, and you just think, I don't know what the formation is. I really don't, and they're all rushing around like headless chickens, and some of them will nearly pick us off if they wanted to go across the halfway line, which they probably didn't. And wasn't it? So overall, not a good night. Not a good night for Daniel. Not a good night for the team, and not a good night for football in general, because it stunk the place out, the whole thing.
Yeah, the picture on screen, and for those in the audio, we're showing a passing map of Jayden Bogle. And this is not a criticism of Jayden Bogle. Just want to make sure that we don't look to scapegoat anybody here. Jayden Bogle, far more often than not. Yeah, but Bogle more often than not is a very forward-thinking player on the front foot. Is usually his first thought is to go forward with the ball and burst forward. There was just something weird last night about Bogle, and every time he got the ball, and there was guys with me at the back of the cop who were saying the same thing, saying he's not even looking forward. It's coming into him and he's going straight back. And I mean, I think Jayden Bogle got to know Carl Darlow better than his wife last night. There was so much connection between the two of them up and down the half. But there was just, I couldn't understand why we were so keen to go back to our goalkeeper last night and then ultimately pump the ball long down the pitch and lose possession, give it back to Sunderland, and then just do the exact same thing again. And then to persist with it. And I don't know whether, and I could be reading far too much into it, and I probably am. But when I saw Bogle start to go back that often, I started to feel like, well, this is obviously an instruction, because you don't just keep on doing that unless you've been told, if you can't go forward, go back. But the only one that he did put forward is that big red line on the bottom of the screen where he kicked it straight out of play. And there was a lot of that going on last night. Ethan Ampadu had another off day. And I think he might just be at this point, and he just might need a rest. And maybe he gets the rest this week because of the FA Cup. But he doesn't look like the player that we were all waxing lyrical about a week ago.
He looks like there's a loose connection somewhere that needs fixing. Well, he's a brilliant player, but yeah,
he's a very good player, and he's got good credit in the bank. But the problem is sometimes you can afford to have one player that has an off day in a game. Last night there was far too many players that were having off days in the game. And there's the next thing that we were talking about into that as well. So what the total passes was 550 overall, and between four players of Justin, Rodon, Bogle, Darlow, Stroik, 297. Over half of those passes. And is that because of the way that Sunderland had lined up and the way that Sunderland were pressing and pushing us back and everything? But the amount of times where we were looking for an out ball and it just wasn't there. And again, this is something that just from what I observed in the first half and in the second half, with Gruev and Ampadu sitting so deep and kept occupying the same space, there was a huge gap between the attacking third, the midfield, attacking third, and DCL. So it was almost like there was a person missing in that little section constantly, which then dictated that they were having to play the ball back. And listen, I don't mind recycling the ball. I don't mind doing that as long as we're moving it forwards. But to be constantly recycling it all the time is nuts. I mean, last night you got it up there on the screen from LUFC data, just the statistics of the overall game. The ball, in terms of playing time, after 106 minutes, was 50 minutes and 40. So nearly just 51 minutes out of 106 minutes of football. Only 50 minutes was played. And it felt like it. 105 stoppages in the game. The average for fouls committed in the game is 19. There was 38 in that game last night. The longest the ball was in play was for just over 2 minutes.
And many were real fouls as well.
But that's the other part of it as well. But yeah, there was 105 fouls, longest time the ball was in play for the longest amount of time of 2 minutes and 1 second, which is horrendous. Total additional time allocated was 16 minutes. And of that 16 minutes, we actually got to play nearly 9. And then the Leeds stoppages equated to 23 minutes, and the Sunderland stoppages equated to 31. And then the goalkeeper, Sunderland's goalkeeper, Elberg, spent 4 minutes taking 6 goal kicks. Sunderland spent 8 minutes taking 19 throw-ins, while Leeds spent 4.5 minutes taking 22 throw-ins. The Dark Arts are alive and well. So that brings me to my next question. Jerry, do Leeds need to start getting a little bit more whiny and a little bit more dark arty and start getting around referees and putting a bit of pressure on them like everybody else is doing? Because I didn't see a huge amount of people screaming for penalties last night.
No, because I mean, I missed the strike thing in real time. But yeah, when the people is only supposed to be the captain, how's that going? PGMOL. But when the Sunderland players gathered around, it makes VAR think, something must have happened here. Let's have a look, And they looked and thought, there's a handball in there, and then the decision's got to be made. So you're dead right. I don't like to see one, but you got to be a bit nastier, and be, kick kick Luke O'Nien up in the air. So somebody should have went in and sorted him out. Easily done. A big Dan Ballard at the back. Somebody wind him up. Xhaka came on and he just conducted things. Someone's got to go in and sort him out.
Smash him.
Someone's got to go in and make him. If it's a yellow card, fine. I'm not advocating violence on the pitch, but
I am.
I am.
Just a little bit of violence.
Yeah, just a little bit of violence. Yeah. Can't let these players dictate. I mean, Xhaka, he made a difference. He's obviously made a difference up there all season. But he was obviously not fully fit, and their keeper was missing, and Mr. Blobby up front. There was a chance there, but we've got to.
That took me a second. Sorry, that took me a second. Very good.
So I can only think of that's all when I see his name. That's all I think of. Mr. Blobby up front. You can just I'm picturing it now. We got to be a bit nastier. I don't want to see us rolling on the ground There's sometimes in games maybe we should if you're playing out a game, you got to do it sometimes. But it was so blatant last night. The rules have got to change that doesn't happen for the sake of football and the sake of a lot of people paid a lot of money to watch that. TNT have got lots of subscribers. They're switching that off.
Yep.
I'm not watching that. I'm not watching that, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to watch it tonight if that's the standard. I mean, Arsenal are doing it. When we seen Arsenal, they weren't great to watch. Somebody said Declan Rice is injured, and they're going to put him in a bowl of mobile phones to make him better.
Yeah. But the thing that you've got that you need to look at as well is that the ref wasn't going to give anything in terms of the penalty at the time until all of the Sunderland players went around him, got in his ear and said, you need to check that. It's a handball. There was at least 4 players that went around him. Now, with the Stroik one, everybody should have gotten round the ref. You need to check that. He's held me round He's held me round the throat. You need to check it. Yeah. And we would have got a penalty. We would have got a penalty.
Yeah, there's no way that's been turned down in VAR, is it? Well,
we need to do that. We need to get more wind. We complain about people like Fernandez and Rodri and Bernardo Silva, but that's what we need to be doing. That's what we mean by the dark arts. Excuse me.
No, let's not do the bark arts.
24 hours.
Bark arts are a whole different.
That's a completely.
Wolfsburg do that, don't they?
Hey!
Yeah. Or Rovers. Yeah. Anyway,
if Wolves could just start behaving as well, please, that would be greatly appreciated.
Take a week off and get to them.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I don't mind. They can do what they want after the playoffs, but no, stop it.
Yeah,
it's funny with other teams, not us.
A couple of quick things to run through, and then we'll start to wrap it up because I am doing a watch along for the West Ham Fulham game because I just may as well.
Are you all right?
No, I missed the game last night, so if I don't do another game, I miss out on my quota for big up. So I have to do another game.
Okay. I was going to say, God, putting yourself.
I was going to watch it anyway, so I may as well do a watch along for it.
Absolutely not a chance.
We are, by the way, we're recording this before that game even kicks off, so this will actually probably go after that game. So just in case you're wondering,
well done, Fulham.
Yeah.
We're 5-0. Bloody hell, Fulham.
Player. What a Harry Wilson's goal is a banger.
Yeah, you can edit that. Yeah, either way.
Just things I want to run through really quickly. The Pascal Stroke incident was horrendous. Jermaine Beckford, to his credit, last night. I watched the clip Paul sent to me last night when I was walking back to the hotel trying to calm down. Paul was peppering me all these little quotes, and by the time I got to the hotel, I was seething.
Yep.
Like I hadn't calmed down. I was genuinely losing my mind. But he fair play because even Steve McManaman at one point tried to say, "Oh well, you can't blame the refs. There's a lot going on in the box." And Jermaine was like, "No, it's nonsense. What that excuse was nonsense."
Bloody obvious.
Tom Ethan Ampadu, their goalkeeper. I have a solution for the goalkeeper situation. I have a very easy solution. We don't have to reinvent anything here. Simple rule: more than one player is not allowed to go to the sideline if a player is getting treatment. End of story.
Yep.
Anyone else goes over, yellow card straight away. Done. You can't go over there. End of.
Easy.
Right.
Very easy.
The Irish should have got a red card because he was on a yellow card when he scored and ran to the crowd, and that's a yellow card offence. Didn't get booked. They didn't get that, and then the handball. So VAR is a load of, and the sooner it's gone, the better for me because they want to expand it to throw in to corner kicks and to second yellows. Now I was like, I wouldn't trust you to open a packet of crisps, let alone dictate more stuff that goes on in the game of football. So Yeah,
It ain't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. That's the problem.
I wish it were. Well, the FSA, the Football something awards, have a survey out about people's opinion on VAR, and I've been sharing. It's on the news, linked on the news today as well. And basically, has it added to the enjoyment? Has it taken away from the enjoyment? Do you think it works? It rates everything from like the quality of the announcements in the stadium to the screen to the explanations to people watching at home and what they're being told, and do people understand what they're being told? And the answer is more often than not, no. And are they in a timely fashion? No. So if you want to get your voice heard on this, and if it's bothering you enough, the more people that get in onto that survey, and the FSA have a big reach, so it'll get a fair few votes. Go and fill it in. It takes 5 seconds to just go through it. Give your opinion, push it out, and because it has absolutely I mean, when Joe Rodon scored last night, the guy beside me went nuts, but I didn't. I celebrated briefly, and then I looked at the linesman straight away. Didn't look at them celebrating. I was staring at the linesman whose flag hadn't gone up, and went. And then I saw the Sunderland players with their hands in the air, and I went, "This isn't going to count, is it?" And then when you see the referee walking to the screen, you're like, "Oh, sorry." You see the referee talking to the Sunderland players, telling them all to calm down. You're like, "This is getting real out. This is gone." So, yeah, that really annoys me. So it's taking the joy out of football for me, and I would like to see it gone. I'm all for goal line technology and the semi-automated offsides, fine, but the rest of it, get rid of it. Just get the referees. Teach the referees how to referee football games again. Really quickly though, just to wrap up some stuff. Pete Lowy's been speaking to Don't Go to Bed Just Yet. Pete Lowy, obviously one of the largest investors in 49ers Enterprises. He's a lifelong Leeds United fan, the Australian family who owned the Westfields Group, or owned the Westfield Group, I believe. And he's been talking about Leeds and the reason he invested in it. He said the reason he invested in Leeds was because he wanted to finally see Leeds receive the investment of a club of this size deserved. And the second reason was he viewed Leeds as the last major undervalued club / franchise, for business terms, in English football. So good reasons. He said PSR situations is in a good nick. We're no problems there, no financial issues. But he was asked about Ellen Road, Paul, and he said if it doesn't happen now, it's never going to happen. And it is happening regardless of what happens at the end of this season. So it is going to happen. And what he said on it was, Leeds is ready for it. If we don't get it done this time, it will never happen. People like myself and the capital that we have won't sit around for 10 years because we can invest wherever we choose to invest. The football club is managed properly. The football club has the capital to do this expansion. So that looks like it is full steam ahead.
Yeah, it's what we've been saying for a little while now. Everybody, we talked about it, conspiracy theories. And listen, I completely understand why people feel that way. That we've had so many false dawns when it comes to improvements, investment, all the other little bits and pieces. You look at the name Lowy, you've got to understand what his experience is, what he's been involved with, all of that kind of stuff. The Westfield stuff, there's, it's no surprise to me that not only in terms of the stadium redevelopment, but the actual around the ground redevelopment at the same time as well, that Lowy's involved with that at the same time. So it will happen. The money's been ring fenced. It's been ring fenced ever since the extra investment came in. These guys are ready to go. We would. And I'm quite confident in saying this. Even if we were down in the Championship, we would still fill that stadium out. If it was a 55,000 seated stadium, we would still sell. It would be sold out every single game. It would still make money. So it was always going to happen. There's too many people now involved with the club that have come out and said in the press, in media, and said it is going to happen. Because now, if it doesn't, the backlash would be unbelievable if it doesn't happen.
There would also be a lot of wasted money because £12 million has already been spent on it.
Yep.
So there's already been money spent. We've seen the Americans at the back of the West Stand. You can see the Americans by the little tunnel area for the away fans that's there. You can see it all marked out there as well. So you can see how far back it's going to go. Jerry, your thoughts on that? And also he talked about, we'll talk about the summer. He said, when we stay in the Premier League, that's the goal. He talked about Daniel Farke's contract as well and said we'll stay where we are. But he said on the stadium stuff, they're going to build. Now, I think he mixed South and West stand up here because he said the plan is to build around the South and the North stand and to make that a hostile environment, he said, with 50,000 fans, not 30,000 fans. So obviously the South stand isn't up for redevelopment at this point because there's the issues with the road and everything else behind it. But for right now, it looks like those two. But they're going to build around it, and he said he wants to maintain that atmosphere, which would be hugely important as well.
Yeah, this is the bigger picture stuff. Last night was a microcosm of a bad night and a bad. We've seen bad games, and there'll be good games. And let's realize why it's important to stay up. I think because this investment's coming in, and as you say, it's and money. When we stay up, money will come in, and we'll get stronger, hopefully. And there's weaker teams coming up, so there might be a buffer. All this is why it's so important. And I think, as Paul says, around the stadium, because if anybody who comes to Leeds, there's just one pub, and I think if they do around the stadium, the Peacock's got to be protected. Gravelly's chip shop, the sweet shop in the corner, the cafe in the middle, they have to be front and center. If you can get that connection, transport connection, and everything else, it's going to make such a difference to make us into a bigger club. And I don't think we need to attract more fans, because Paul says we will fill it. I'm only worried that if VAR get involved, they'll look at a girder and think that girder is in front of the other girder, take it down. And that's the only thing I'm worried about. But it's exciting times. The next 10 years, I mean, who knows, in 10 years, 5 years' time, what Elland Road will look like. And it's long overdue. The last investment we had was Ken Bates's function rooms and that horrible thing on the front. Maybe it worked. I don't know. But it was sort of bits and pieces, and that this is major development. These guys have serious money, and I'm sure it's frustrating for them, because I'm sure they want to plow loads of money in, and they can't on the playing side as well. From my point of view, I think they should get rid of all this financial fair play. An owner comes in, they put a couple of $100 million bond in. Spend as much money if they want. So if it goes belly up, they've got that bond there. Yeah. And just spend the money. I mean, if you're a Newcastle fan, you're owned by a country, and we're owned by loads of Americans and rich Australians. Spend it. I want to see the best things coming in. But overall, this is positive, and I still like the West Stand for all its little nooks and crannies, and that step that Barry nearly falls over every week coming across. I like it, I do. But yeah, we gotta move on and change it. So that's positive, and let's hope it's never seen in the Championship, this massive new stadium. Yeah,
it's a massive thing. For me, the last piece of investment was actually removing the pie that was stuck to the wall in the West Stand for 2 years. So that was a huge milestone for us to finally get that off the wall.
I want the pillar to remain. I like the pillar. I like the surprise of that midfielder jumping out.
It's bad, isn't it? It's bad.
Oh God, I
like that midfielder coming out from behind it to surprise me. Yeah.
Oh, what did you think?
There's an angle. There's an angle in the one. And again, there's 2 or 3 of them in the cup. But the angle from where I was on the left hand side of it, like every corner, I lost the ball and about 4 players like vanished behind this pole. And like I don't know, because I haven't watched it fully back. I don't know if Yacobial hit the post, the side netting, or it was saved. But the portion of the crowd that I were in, we all thought it was gone in the back of the net for a split second, and then we thought it hit the post because again the pole was in the way. So, So well. Anyway, folks, look, we'll wrap it up there. We'll get to talking about the FA Cup before the weekend, I'm sure. Anyway, we'll Daniel Farke's press conference before then, and fingers crossed. Oh, by the way, Daniel Farke has been charged by misconduct by the FA for his
of course he has.
going on the pitch. So
for his jogging,
So we'll
don't jog in an aggressive way.
Did you see how slow he walked onto the pitch last night, though, on purpose?
Oh, he strolled onto the pitch last night. Which
he should have crawled. He should have crawled.
The wording on it was the manager entered the field of the play to remonstrate with the referee, which you're not allowed to do. Now, there is no difference between him walking onto the pitch to remonstrate with the referee or running onto the pitch to remonstrate with the referee. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. They are appealing it. So but they might accept it. They said that there might be a possibility where they just go, fine, he misses the FA Cup game, and he's back in the dugout for the game away to Crystal Palace. So we'll have to wait and see. God forbid Eddie Raymer should end up taking control of the team from the sideline and making substitutions of 60 minutes or 44 minutes or 45 minutes. You never know. Anyway, look, that's it. Your therapy session is over. We've gotten this off our chests.
Come on, Fulham. Come on, Man City.
Let's go.
Come on, Crystal Palace. Yes.
We will move on from this now, and we will get back behind the lads for the weekend in the FA Cup. A bit of a slight distraction against Norwich, back at Elland Road, and then we get ready to talk about Palace and Brentford being the next 2 that are very, very important before we go away to that lot across the Pennines. So we'll lots to talk about in the next couple of weeks anyway, folks. But yeah,
Monday night on the Pennines, as it is.
Monday night,
Monday night.
Under the lights somewhere else. Maybe that's the new record that we start up now, winning away from home.
Can we just bring Scoobs? Just bring Scoobs back for a night, because he did that last
Lincoln.
He was there.
Yeah, he's doing very well.
He's doing great, Lincoln. Right, folks, enjoy the rest of your evenings, your days, whenever you're watching or listening to this. Thanks very much, as always, for supporting us. You can check Paul out at the Leeds Therapy. You can check Jerry out at JerryMac123 over on X. You can check me out at IGR Lynch on X or on Instagram at the Leeds View. If you want to help us to get to 1,000 followers on Instagram there. I was going to do a live stream today on Instagram, but then I realized I can't do it till I've got 1,000 followers on Instagram. So if you want to give us a hand there, you can the Leeds View on Instagram. Outside that, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks very much for spending your time with us. I'll see you later. Bye.
Well,